Hello everybody and welcome to Workshop Studios. Can you guess what we're going to be working on today? And you would be right if you said a broken pull cord on a Stihl FS40C string trimmer. So that broke off and we have to put a new one on. Okay, to fix this broken pull cord we're going to need to put new rope in, and I have bought myself this little replacement, which is great. So it's got the cord in there, and you could buy the cord all by itself, but I found that cord that comes with this seems to last longer. I don't know why, but they seem to sell good stuff in there. So I'm probably going to go ahead and keep using the old handle because it's the right size for here, whereas that handle is way too big. That's more like for a mower. So I'm going to use this old handle, but I'll use this rope. And I know some of you out there will go, you can buy the rope. And I say, yes, I know, but for some reason that rope is good. So I just pull it out of here like that, the old rope, and we feed the new rope in and put a knot in it, and that'll take care of the first part of replacing the starter. So the next thing we're going to do is take this panel off the back, this one right here, and that's where the retractor mechanism is for the cable. So to do that, there's a couple of bolts in here that we're going to take out. There's one there and there. And there's a couple down lower, down here. Yep. And so I need to get the right size to get in there, and then we'll take those out and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so we're looking down in that hole where the nut is, or the screw bolt, should I say, and it's got this head on it that looks like this. It's a star-shaped head, and this is the tool that comes with the trimmer, so you want to be able to find that. And what we're going to do is get that down in that hole, get this hooked on, and we'll just unscrew these bolts like that. All right, now that the bolts are loose, you can take this cover off like this, and inside is the retracting mechanism. Point at the retractor, right there you go, right there, that we're going to now wrap that cord around, but it's kind of tricky, so we'll show you how it happens. All right, so to get this off, you have to get that, it's called a C-clamp, or a little retainer clip out of there. And it's the kind of clip, I've got it off of there already and I'll show you how I did it, but it's the kind of clip that you have a spreader tool for. It grabs, I'll show you. It grabs either one of these, both of these holes, and spreads this clip apart. Let me zoom down in there and I'll show you. Hang on a second. So here's a little closer view, and you can see that what you're trying to do is spread this clip apart so that it will open up and you can get it off of there. And so this video is kind of about how to get one of these clips off when you don't have the special tool. But you can see when I'm using two small pointy things like this, two kind of different picks, if you might, I can grab those holes and spread it out, and that's how I got it out. But I also used a screwdriver, and I forced the screwdriver in between that gap and opened it up just enough so that I could pick one of the ends up. So that's how I got that off there. Put a screwdriver in that gap, kind of turn it and open it up, and then use one of those picks to kind of pull it off of there. So, all right, good. All right, so once the clip's out of there, then this whole unit will lift right off of there. Let me show you what that looks like underneath here. All right, so down underneath you have this, and I'll zoom down in there for that. You have this structure where there's a little place where the spring hooks in right there, and that's this spring, and this part of the spring hooks in there. And the reason is because this will now get wound up. Let's see if I can even do it here, but it winds up, and this spring then gets tension in it. Yeah, can't do it. But hopefully you can see what I mean by that. And that's what retracts back to pull the rope back in. The rope goes down in this, which is where you see that little bit remaining, and that's where it broke off right there. So the rope goes through here and in here and through this thing here, through this little channel. So we'll go ahead and put it in there and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so now it's pretty simple. What we're going to do is the rope, again, like I said, is going to wind in there. And so we need to get this old knot out of here. And I'm doing that with just, again, with a pick. Get that knot out of there. There we go. That's the old knot out of there. And then what I want to do is feed this through that hole. That's the other thing about buying this cord from, in a kit that it's made for these handles, is that cord is now made to go through those holes, the holes that they make for these things, and this cord size is usually pretty well matched. So at this point we just make a knot. Any old knot will do, really. Pretty simple. So I do a double knot usually. There we go. And I pull it down, and you can sort of focus on getting it so that there's not much sticking out, because you don't want things to poke out into the area where it's at. So you get that knot in there, and then I just sort of shove it down in with a screwdriver if I can. Come on, get down in there. Well, I'll get it down in there and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so the reason I was struggling is because this little thing is made into two chambers. There's this one where the rope comes up through. So it comes up and goes across there, and then the knot shoves down into this side. So once I got that figured out, it slid in there just fine.
Alright, you can see there's those two little grooves right there. There's this one right here, this lower one, which is closer to the front on this side right here, where the rope comes out, and there's the second one where the rope is going to come around as it comes around the second time, so because this thing pushes it over. So as you see, it comes out right here, and first it's got to come through. It's got to come through this way. See, as this thing comes out, it pushes over and goes into that middle groove. And then when this little notch right here comes over, you're going to come over to the second one, and you're going to try your best to hold it over to that side. And then when it comes through the second time, you're going to put it over here, and then just keep on rolling. Try to get as much as you can so you can go back over to the other side. And then you should, after you come around for like after you come around there, you can stop at this notch right here. Also, we want to have it go like that because we want as much rope to come in, be in there as possible, and so that it doesn't stick out and hit the inside of hit the inside border of this casing out right here. Alright, now we're going to take this rope and then feed it through this hole down in here, and then it should pop out this side. Alright, so next you're going to take this and you're going to put it in here, but first you got to know where that spring is first. So this spring needs to be on this side of the box, because there's a little notch right here, so that this little spring circle head part will fit right into there. As you do that, you kind of just drop it in and pull that rope tight, and it should wind up, and then if you release it, it should pull right back in. And then that's how the winding mechanism works. So now you gotta put this thing back on, and usually there isn't second springs in here, but for this one there is. And the reason for that is when you come to turn this and you're pulling it really fast, if it just comes to when the rope comes to a end, it's gonna bottom out. And that's going to cause extra wear on the rope. So this, whenever this is in here, and it will have a little give before it bottoms out and wears out the line. So now you gotta match up this little part right here to this little groove right here so that this little spring fits in. Put the down in there, and it should just pop right back on, and then there you are.
Alright, so the next thing is to put this C-clamp back on. Oh, and by the way, you heard my assistant there doing the work before me, so thank you to my assistant.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to put it down in there, and because we don't have one of those things that spreads it out, we're going to kind of do it as best we can here. So let me try it. So just be mindful that I'm doing this first time too. So I'm going to put these two things in here. So I'm going to capture those holes. I'm going to try and spread it out enough without it go flying across the shop to see if I can do this. It takes a little bit of force to get that thing spread out. There we go. I got one down there. Can you see that? One down. I kind of try to work my way around here. And I might go ahead and do what I did before, is use a screwdriver to push them apart. And I think, oh no, it slid up there, didn't it?
Just on the other side.
That's my assistant in the background. He's got all kinds of helpful ideas. All right, so partly I have to get some leverage on this thing, so it's going to be farther away. But let me show you. I've now got it on there. Let me slip it on there, and I've got it partly on already. There we go. Now I got that end on. Now I've got to work this edge over on the back, which you can't see because my hands are in the way. And I think I got it. Come on, get over there, you. See if I can use a screwdriver to do this. I'm gonna push it. There we go, and it's on. Quick as a wink. So, oops, zoom in there. There we go. So it's back on, and hopefully that makes sense to you all, that you can do it without using one of those special spreaders. You just kind of got to get some things down in there and open it up manually, as opposed to with a nice little pair of pliers. All right, so now let's put the rest of it together. All right, so my assistant's going to show you the rest of it here. Go ahead, assistant.
Okay, so, well, first you want to grab your original handle that you use to pull, to start the engine. And you could use the new one from the box, but like it's kind of too big, and then there's also going to be a piece right here, so it's going to be a little bit in the way. So we're just going to use the old one, unless that disappeared. So first you're gonna have to you have to pull this out just a little bit so that you have enough tension, so that whenever this is out and it comes back, this pulls it straight and it's not flopping around and dangling around. So you gotta figure that out, and then make sure that you still have plenty of room. Yes, we do. So still plenty of room, and then you need to keep that spot, and then feed the rope through it, and then tie a knot. So you can feed this through, pull it through all the way. Make sure there's still enough tension on there, and that should be good. So now you gotta tie your knot at the end. And double tie it if you need to. Okay, so you can have either one knot. It works pretty okay. It still works good. So you could either melt this, because this is a nylon string. If you don't have nylon string, then well, you can't melt it, and you're gonna have to either keep the first knot, original knot, or tie a second knot. And if you don't want your original knot to go away, you can tie a second knot as well. I'm just gonna do one for the sake of the video. Okay, tie it next to the knot, and then judge it as it goes, and then pull it tight, and that should be pretty good, and that knot shouldn't come loose. And then there you go. And then whenever that second knot is, you can cut the string, cut it, and you should be good. And then this should work. And you see, retracts. Remember, we put that tension on there, and it comes right back, and it's not dangling over like over here with that loose string. So before we put this on, there's these little things right here. Call them dog ears, whatever you want. They're little flopper things that sit there. So whenever you pull on the pull start and this turns, this is what starts the engine. these little teeth latch onto this little flopper dog ear thing, and it'll turn the engine, and it'll start it. It'll start it whenever you pull it. So whenever the engine starts running, it'll go faster than this thing, and these things should flop out and disengage from this, so that this isn't spinning anymore and doesn't rip this thing to pieces. Alright, so now it's time to put this on. So whenever you're gonna put this on, you gotta make sure this little bottom tab is goes right down here, and there's a little tab down here as well. So you gotta make sure you get that past that, and then this is also gonna turn in a weird way as well. And then once that's past the tab, these aren't locked together, so you gotta kind of wiggle, pull onto this, and then it should wiggle itself into place. And now this is into place, and everything lines up. So once you got that on and you wiggled this thing, you can now put these screws back on, back into the 3 holes, one down here, one right there, and one over here. Now once you do that, you can push these back in, push these in and start screwing them in, and make sure you don't tighten them down. You want to tighten them in like a star pattern. So you want to kind of just screw that in a little bit and keep on going around to each screw, because if you tighten one side on, the other side goes on weird, and then it pulls on plastic and plastic breaks.
So there we are. Rope is all done, and come on, baby. There we go. Works just great. So thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. And if you want to stay tuned, I have a bonus feature. Yes, extra special bonus. You get to see how to change the head out and for the cutter blades like this. So again, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video, and be sure to watch the bonus. Bye. All right, a little bonus feature for you. We're going to change the blades on our Polycut. So that's what this is up here. You can buy these at the Stihl store, and you want to get the right size for them. But there's a head, special head that comes with it like that, and they get worn down. So it's time to change these. And so you take your tool that comes with your Stihl unit. That's the end that we were just tightening the nuts with right there, and this end is for going up in this little hole on the left side, if you want to call it the left side, and you spin this around until it slides up in there. Maybe you can't see what I'm doing, but it slides up in there, and then it locks this so it won't rotate. And if it's loose enough, you can loosen it by hand. So I'm going to turn it by hand this time. What I did was loosened it up with my big pliers like this. So I'm going to unscrew this, and that just comes right straight off of there. And this is where you change heads as well. So this is the Polycut head that's on here right now, and this is when you would change it to the string trimmer head. So that comes off like that. All right, and then this just kind of wiggles off of here. You'll see how it's hooked on there. Is that these 3 holes, there, and there, just go with these 3 posts. And there's our Polycut blades, and you can see how much they've worn down. There's a new one and an old one. And you just take the old ones off, put a new one on. 1, 2, and 3. So what you use this for, or what I use it for, is doing a lot of heavy edging where I'm going along a border where there's no concrete. It's a lot of dirt, and it cuts through the grass that's trying to grow into the bed. It works great for that kind of thing. But I also use it for cutting heavy grasses like pampas grass, and I'll put a link right up there that shows this tool and the string trimmer used to cut pampas grass. So look up here for the pampas grass cutting. I think I actually have 2 videos doing that, so I'll put links to both of those up there. Going back together is just as simple. Just line those holes up and push it down, and that's all put back together now. And these don't have a direction. They're the same on either side. So I just put them in that way, and then it's ready to put back on the string trimmer.
And when you get those put back on, you just slide that right back on, and and then turn it back, tighten it back up. And then you slide your wrench back in there, turn it until it is, and then you can tighten it from there. Hand tight is usually good. If you really need to, you can use the big pliers.